They say the dead were never left in darkness, not while one man still walked among them. His name was Silas Thorn, broad in the shoulders, steady in his step. He kept the graveyard in order, cutting back the grass, setting stones straight, and carrying his lantern between the rows long after the sun was gone. He never asked thanks for anything he did, said the departed ought not sit lonesome in the dark. Folks once found comfort in him, whispering how he moved sure through the fog. Neighbors nodded when he passed, trusting him to tend the ground no one else would. But come that autumn, a change took hold. He grew colder, turning away from the same folk who once eased at the sight of his lantern. When spoken to, his answers came sharp, clipped, as if some warmth in him had gone out. Then came the glow. At first a cough that rattled deep, then light catching faint beneath his shirt. The passerby swore they'd seen him without his lantern lit. Yet still, something was flickering, a dull orange pulse beating in time with his breath. It sputtered and flared, showing his ribs clear through like a candle inside a hollowed gourd. Each cough threw it bright, then left it near dark again. After that, folks kept their distance. They'd glimpse him moving, slow among the stones, shadows stretching long and crooked, chest glowing like a lantern fighting to burn. The man they once trusted now walked like a stranger, a body burning itself out from within. By morning, they found him slumped against the marker he'd tended near all his life. His lantern cold, his body spilling its own light. His chest had split, charcoal stalks breaking through, tips burning, weak as drowned wicks. And some say the glow lingers still, not a candle, not a lantern, but the last light of a man who burned down to his wick. Graveyards don't sit empty the way folks like to think. The earth shifts, the stones lean to one side, and on still nights, the fog runs thick enough to hide what moves between them markers. Some say they've seen a glow out there, faint and unsteady, like fire smothered in a jar. It ain't lantern flame. It don't burn like you and I know a flame should. It stutters, catching low and dying back again, like it's trapped behind bone fighting to get free. Folks who've stood too long, stared too long, claim it sets a weight in the chest, as if fog catches the breath, leaving you gasping. Silas Thorn was the first they dared to name, but his burial didn't end it. Others had been seen in years since, tall shapes moving slow through the fog, ribs flashing with a light that sputters like a candle in wet air. Faces never show. By the time you reckon you've seen one, the glow was already slipped into the stones, leaving only mist and silence. There are those who whisper it's the keeper, still bound to his rose. Others believe the grounds claim more, and every man who's carried that flicker walks the graveyard yet. The dead keep still. It's the ones that flicker you ought to fear. Folks will argue plenty on where that light takes hold, but the talk always circles back to the burying grounds. Some say it clings to the soil itself, dirt that's been turned too often, fed too long on wood, cloth, and bone. A graveyard's a richer field than any farm, and whatever grows there feeds different. Others reckon it comes from the stones. They'll point to the moss on their faces, the cracks that drink in rain, saying the glow seeps out slow like moisture through old mortar. Then there's the gravedigger's tale. Every spadeful of earth cuts through roots too fine to see, threads that have been waiting just beneath the surface. Stir 'em up, and you're breathing what ain't meant for the living. But the darkest talk ain't about dirt nor stone. It's about the mourners. They whisper that those who linger too long, leaning too heavy on headstones or speaking soft to the ground, carry something back with them. Not grief alone, but a seed settling quiet in the chest till the flicker starts. None of the tellings agree, but all of them end in the same place. A man walking among the graves, glowing where no lantern swings. The first thing you notice is the sound, not a cough, not at first, but the way a man's breath drags, rough and damp, like the air's been pulled through a soaked cloth. Stand close enough, and you feel it in your own ribs. Each inhale pulling shallow, rattling the ribs, each exhale cut short, like the body's already tired of the work. Then comes the turn folks can't mistake. The man grows colder. He don't meet the eyes the way he used to. Words fall away. Answers coming sharper, not at all. A hand that once lifted in greeting hangs still at his sides. There's a distance about him now, a hollow in his presence, as if the warmth that's marked him a good fellow's been drained clean out. It chills those nearby worse than the sickness itself. And then, the glow. At first, no more than a faint shimmer, catching low behind the breastbone, gone near as soon as it comes. But watch him in the dark, and you'll see it flare with each cough, then fade again. A lantern trying to breathe through shuttered wood. As days pass, the ribs catch more of it, light pressing thin along the seams of bone, never steady, always flickering. By then his breath is near gone. Each inhale sounds like gravel grinding in your hands. His chest heaves, fighting for air it can't draw. The final hours are a storm of Coffin, body shaking under its own weight, and then it bursts. The ribs split, and the thing that's been feeding there tears through. What rises is black, stalks lean and brittle, charred like burnt wicks, their tips sputtering faint, each one shivering with a light that looks ready to die. The man is gone at that moment. His body gutters out like a candle spent, leaving only the black stalks standing where his breath once rose. Corpsewick makes its home in burying dirt, not just any soil, but the kind packed thick with years of laying folks down. Damp, heavy ground turned soft by coffin wood gone spongy. Cloth falling into threads, bones leaking what little marrow it's still got. That's where the corpsewick fungus weaves itself. Black threads running quiet through the dark and waiting patient. It don't stretch too far. Not out into open fields or woods. Dry air kills it, wind scatters it. Graveyards are different though. Shaded by stone, cooled by trees leaning over, damp near year round. And rain don't run off quick there. It soaks deep, keeping the ground wet enough for Corpsewick to keep breathing. You can smell it if you know what you're after. A sweet faint tang like burnt bark hid under the rot. By day it hides still. The threads nest down in the soil, clinging tight to coffin seams, gnawing slow through the grain. They'll creep up burial cloth, crawl along bone, but always in the dark. It's come nightfall that the fungus stirs. Ember light trickles along its small stalks, dim as coal in a stove. That glow ain't made for men. It's for the small things that haunt the graveyards after sundown. Moths circle it first, wings dusted with spores before they ever knew they've even carried them. Beetles crawl its length, brushing the threads, leaving trails that spread to the next stone. Even gnats get caught in it, lifting off with a shimmer clinging to their legs. These are the keepers of its reach. Corpsewick don't ride the wind. It rides the bugs, spreading soft and steady, grave to grave. Turning the soil wakes it quick though. A fresh dug grave brings the black threads closer to the surface, stirring up spores that hang in the still air. A gravedigger breathing heavy at his work might never know he's drawn it down till weeks later, when his chest starts heaving wrong. Corpsewick don't need to roam wide. Its whole world is stone markers and soft earth, where the ground stays cool and the air hangs still, and the dead feed it without a word. That's its kingdom, and that's enough. Since the pale orange flickering seen among the hollowed grounds in years past, the Corpsewick's got a name for itself now, Ignomyces cineris, and it don't grow wild like the mushrooms folk kick over in the yard. Its filaments run black, thin and ropey, looking near charred even under glass. That color comes from melanin packed heavy in the threads, the same stuff that darkens skin against the sun. In the grave dirt, it acts like a shield, guarding the fungus from stray light, from shifts in damp, even from the slow bite of decay itself. The glow is its own kind of trick. It don't burn like fire, though it looks that way. The shine comes from chemicals built in the threads, luciferin-type molecules and their kin reacting with the air throwing off a faint ember light. In the soil, it flickers weak, but inside a chest, where breath fans across it, the glow pulses brighter. Each inhale feeding the shimmer like air on coals. That shine draws more than eyes. Insects that haunt the graveyards after dark, moths, beetles, gnats, are pulled to it all the same they are to a flame. To them, The glow reads like food, or mate, or safe ground. The fungus don't care which. Every brush of wing or leg dusts the bug in spores, turning it to a carrier before it ever leaves the stone. And inside the body, the fungus don't spread out wide. It grows straight, tight, following the lines of ribs and vessels like rows in a field. The cords are strong enough to stiffen lungs, hard enough to crack bone when they push free. And when it fruits, it don't broom soft caps nor frills, only black stalks. Burnt looking, each tip sputtering with the same glow that called in the bugs. It's never meant to burn in the living, but once it finds a chest, it uses it all the same way it uses soil, as fuel, as a scaffold, and as a wick. Corpsewick don't come hunting men. Men go stirring it up. A spade through grave dirt, or even breathing deep near fresh turned soils enough to pull the spores loose. Tiny things, near weightless. They drift in the still air, easily drawn down into the lungs. Insects play their part too, landing on the glow at night and carrying spores on their wings till they brush against skin or cloth. One careless breath is all it takes. Once inside, the spores don't waste time. They lodge in the bronchi, the deep branches of the lung, and send out black threads. At first they creep, feeding on moisture and heat. But soon, they root along the vessels, wrapping themselves to the body's own lines. The immune system fights, but the fungus is armored. Its dark melanin shields it from the very cells meant to burn it out. And growth runs upward, not out. Each cord thickens along vessels and vein, stiffening the lungs till they lose their give. Blood flows slow where the cords wrap tight, leaving tissue pale and starved. That's why men grow cold before they ever show glow. Their body's warmth is being stolen, not by fever, but by lack of blood. The glow itself comes as the fungus feeds. Every breath fans its chemistry, each inhale throwing a faint light through the chest. The brighter the glow, the deeper the growth. It's a cruel measure of how far the sickness has gone. And when death comes, the body turns from vessel to beacon. The fungus bursts free, stalks rising, black as burnt wicks. Each tip glowing, weak but long enough to do its work. Spores spill into the still air, catching on any who breathe nearby. Insects close in on the light, brushing spores loose and carrying them off into the night. And so it spreads. Not by hunting, but by misfortune. Soil to breath, breath to chest, chest to grave, and back again. Corpsewick don't answer well to flame. The black stalks crack and flake when set to burn, throwing spores into the air like ash on wind. Folks learn fast the fire only spreads it, so the keepers turn to smothering. When the growth breaks through men, the body's bound tight in tarred cloth, the glow choked down before the insects can swarm. Quick hands drag it to the holler, where lime waits in heaps. The whole of it, body, cloth stalks, is buried deep under caustic powder, sealed beneath stone, stamped hard enough that no root nor spade will break through again. Certain yards mark the graves of the taken with iron caps. Heavy plates laid flat across the mound, too heavy for hands alone to shift, too close for moths or beetles to find a way in. And they call them lantern stones, though the only light they hold is the one they're meant to bury. Night watch is kept not with lamps, but with cloth and quiet. When the glow is seen flickering on the ground, it's covered fast, the light smothered before the ground can claim more. And folks whisper that the dark itself keeps it at bay, that so long as the glow don't show, Corpsewick can't call its carriers. But the truth carries less comfort. The fungus ain't gone, only pressed down, hid under lime and stone, and awaits in the soil, patient, biting until the next breath draws it close again.
Roots like fingers pulling deep through marrowed bone and bury sleep. The ground is hollow, the air is still, the dead burn slow beneath the hill. They hum, they hum in a voiceless choir, the living drawn to their quiet fire. Tend the dead, let the soil reclaim, let the ground whisper their name.
Graveyards carry more than memory. Every stone marks a name, but the soil below keeps what it was laid there. Wood softening, cloth unraveling, marrow seeping, Corpsewick roots in all of it. Black threads winding quiet through the dark. It was born to the dead, and the dead it rightly belongs. What folk remember most is the flicker. A man crossing the yard, chest glowing like a lantern. It's a sight you won't soon forget. Not because it burns bright, but because it ain't where fire is meant to be. A flame in the hearth comforts. A candle on table guides. But fire in the chest? That's a mark of a body turned wrong. And once you gazed upon that pale lantern flicker through the ribs of a man, the world shifts. Lantern light feels meaner. Matches burn shorter. Even your own breath in the cold seems to catch and shimmer, like something hid inside's trying to wait. I'm Archivist Nixon. Corpsewick don't belong in us. We ain't its field, nor its soil. But still, it finds a way. By shovel, by spade, by accident. And that's the part that chills the deepest. It don't need you. It never did. But you can still carry it all the same.